Ooh.
What?
Good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Great. He threw me for a loop right off the top. How are you, everybody? Happy Thursday, the 3rd day of May, 2018. Wake Up in Nancy Valley is on the air. I am Dan Kuntz, your host. Steve WUWV-2018-05-03 to my immediate left. Kat, as always, in control. And my guest today, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Ringo Starr, will be on this show in the second half of the program. I'm getting a text real quick, Steve.
Yeah, you better mind your manners today, Dan. Kat is running a tight ship.
She's
today,
pretty upset. I got a text. Ringo's not going to be here. Damn. Ringo canceled just now.
Oh?
So, yeah. Second half of the show, Steve and I will be staring back at you for a half an hour. No. We're going to rerun the interview I did with Matt Wisen, local celebrity Matt Wisen. Remember, he was here on Tuesday. He's one of the local coordinators for this Washington's Fallen Heroes entry in the Stimul Growers Grand Parade, and they always need people to carry the banners of the fallen. And so far, so good. We've gotten a good response from Matt's visit from Tuesday. So what we thought we'd do with the Stimul Growers Grand Parade, just a couple of days away, to re-air that interview, to remind you to get a hold of Matt or show up and get ready to volunteer at Triangle Park at the staging area for the parade on Sunday morning. Let's get every banner that they got manned and carried down that parade route.
Yeah, that's critical.
That's a cool thing. It is Thursday, Apple Blossom Festival. Great day yesterday. Opening night of Guys and Dolls. The reviews are in. Better than Hamilton.
No kidding.
Yep. That's what the New York Times said this morning. Gave it 5 stars.
Oh, great.
Also, the All Service Club Luncheon was there. We got a report on that. Dan Lewis, former Como news anchor, was the keynote speaker. We have a special report on that. Our own Eric Granstrom was there with his cameras, and that'll be cool. Today's the golf tournament, which used to be on Friday.
Are you playing?
No. I got too much on my plate.
Oh, okay.
I got too much going on. We got to get ready. We got the Stimul Growers Grand Parade on Saturday at 11. We got to get, prep that up and get that ready to go and get everything, all the dots, the T's crossed and the I's dotted. And also we have the Les Schwab Classy Chassis Parade tomorrow night.
Oh gosh, I almost forgot about Classy Chassis, but that's a huge event. Becoming more popular each year with Grant and Brent Crowder.
Brent Crowder, yes, from Town Nissan. You need car nuts to do this show.
Yeah, definitely.
And they both know a lot about cars. And of course, the Les Schwab Classy Chassis Parade has a different challenge for those people who call the action on television, in that there's no lineup. The youth parade and the grand parade, we know who's coming down the route, and we have it all prepared, and we have graphics, and we've got the scripts and everything. The Les Schwab Classic Chassis Parade, they get in their car at Eastmont Community Park and start driving down Grant Road willy-nilly, and you just know, you can't just sit there and go, that's a car. That's another car. It doesn't work. You got to have guys who can think quickly on their feet. We couldn't find Eddie's, but we got Brent and Grant, so we'll see what happens.
It's a lot of fun too, because all the cars end up at the regional park there, Eastmont Regional Park, and then they have a great car show for the weekend. So that's
and if you want to see these cars up close and personal, Eastmont Community Park up there on Grant Road in, what's the cross street? Eastmont?
Georgia,
thank you. They basically park all of these cars in the ball fields, and you can look at them close up. And a lot of these car owners take great pride in their automobiles, and they'd love to answer your questions and take a look-see at the car close up. They have the hood up, you can look at the engine.
What is it about guys standing around an open hood of a car, with their hands in their pockets and just kind of looking around there, and that's stereotypical.
I remember one year we were out in front of, at the time it was Willie's Sports Bar on Valdemar Parkway. We were broadcasting live on the radio, and the Classy Chassis Parade came by, and just one beautiful car after another, or a hot rod, or a fire engine. And there was this one car that came down. It was like a 77 Vega. It was rusted and dented, and I go, what is that doing in the parade?
I should have brought my 72 Pinto station wagon.
Oh, we got a great weather forecast for you. Again, we're going to rerun that Matt Wisen interview, local celebrity Matt Wisen. We got sports when HOL did not win yesterday. These teams, at this point in the playoff process, of course, all of the teams are good. They're all champions of one kind or another, and you're not going to get away with a 4-game sweep at this level of competition this deep in the playoffs. And that was the case last night. They didn't win. They lost 5-2, so they're still going to be.
You got to give the home team at least one win.
Yeah. Well, they're all good teams at this point. Wenatchee may be better, though. So they're going to be in the hotel rooms up there in Alberta for another day, and they'll play again tomorrow. They don't play today. They're off today. So Game 5 of that best-of-7 series will be held on Friday. And even though they did lose 5-2, we'll have highlights for you. Anyway, we also have Today in History, the obscure holiday, birthdays. It's Thursday. You know what Thursdays mean around here?
That means, I think, Pet of the Week.
Pet of the Week. Yes, our very own Megan McPherson We'll see if we can find Abby the dog a home. That'll be coming up as well. Steve, you got news? Quite a bit of news as
A
well.
lot of news to get to. In fact, a little story that we teased yesterday morning became headline news yesterday afternoon. We'll share that with you coming up here in a few minutes.
They shouldn't, the Chelan County PUD should not have to be doing what they're doing, but they're doing it anyway, and for good reason. I just wish they didn't have to. We'll get to that as well. You ready to go around the valley?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Always ready.
Let's see what Kat has decided we get to look at today. To look at Bridgeport. Absolutely gorgeous day up there in Bridgeport.
Well,
I'm sorry.
if you were a little further north.
Yeah, that's actually not Bridgeport. I believe that is the Wenatchee Valley proper. Quick little story. I was looking at last year's footage of the Steamboat Growers Grand Parade. And the one thing I noticed last year compared to this year, last year at Memorial Park, the big old classic trees that are all over the park were a lot greener last year and a lot fuller than this year because we had a cool spring. We had a warmer and sunnier spring last year. And you noticed that when I looked at the parade footage from last year, how much more leafy, as it were, the trees were than they are this time. We're a little behind schedule, but we'll find. We'll get caught up, trust me on that. Camera 2, where are we
The
going,
orchards
Kat?
have already caught up. They're in full bloom.
That is Omi Garden looking towards Rocky Reach.
That's a good shot
Dam.
there.
That's a beautiful shot, isn't it? You can see Highway 97A, US 2 to the far right-hand corner of your screen. And as we look up the Columbia, you can see the bar there. Beautiful view there.
You can see the Lincoln Rock State Park up there, too.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. That's a good view. Nicely done, Kat. We like that. Rocky
I think I
Ridge
see a
Dam.
new archive photo for our stock file.
I like that. Camera 3. We are off to Leavenworth.
Beautiful, looking down from
Very
Tumwater.
Gorgeous, gorgeous view up there. Leavenworth, by the way, has a big festival coming up, I'm told.
I
Yeah,
think
I'm told. Yeah.
Well, the May Day.
Yeah, they have Mayfest, the Yachtley Festival. They know how to party up in Leavenworth. They certainly do. Of course, they had that big parking symposium last night, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
They did, yeah. It was. That's always been an issue in Leavenworth. It's a popular place. It's a popular place. Good morning, Leavenworth. Thanks for joining us. Camera 4. We swing up to. Is that Billy Goat zoomed in, Kat? That's Billy Goat zoomed in.
My gosh, that's a close-up of the Meadow joining the Columbia River.
Actually, no. You can't see the Meadow. That is just
well,
the Columbia River.
That is the Meadow, isn't it?
No, that's the Columbia. You can't see the Meadow.
Okay.
See, we're zoomed in. That's Billy Goat, but that's zoomed way in. So that's Brewster. Yep.
I got you.
Yep, that's the Brewster area. Bridgeport is around that little mountain that you see to the right, and I believe we can see Mount Kalispell. Kalispell spelt with a C in the very top of your screen, and as those of you who watch the show on a regular basis know, that is Canada. That's how high up that camera is. I like that zoomed in look. That is cool.
That's neat.
Good. Thanks for joining us, Brewster, on this Thursday.
See the little hazy skies there this morning.
Little hazy. Well, it's early. You know, it's the humidity is at its highest, and as the day goes on, the haze will burn off. The humidity will lower. We're looking at a high today of what, 80? Let's take a look at the forecast because I haven't seen it yet. Oh, there we go. 80 today. If we get to 80, it'll be the first time in 2018 we have hit that mark. For the record, we hit 77 on Wednesday. Normal high would be 67. It was a very pleasant Wednesday afternoon.
Gorgeous.
It was absolutely impossible to stay inside.
Apple Blossom Festival couldn't ask for better weather.
This is really good stuff. You'll notice that little blip in the radar. That's Sunday. We have a chance of some light sprinkles, lots of clouds, and a high of 81. So the sun's going to be taking the day off on Sunday. Temperatures are still going to be warm. They have an offshore flow that's going to start moving that ridge of high pressure out of alignment, Steve. That begins on Friday. Saturday, it looks fine for the Steamboat Growers Grand Parade. Partly sunny, high of 78, almost no wind at all. Tomorrow, at this time, I'm going to give you an hour-by-hour forecast on Saturday because it's not just the Steamboat Growers Grand Parade. There's a lot going on. We have the bike races in downtown Wenatchee and the food fair and the arts and crafts fair. There's a lot going on, almost all of it outdoor related on Saturday. So tomorrow you're going to get an hour-by-hour forecast.
Plus, we'll also provide you with some information on how to get to where you have to go.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, we're going to have a report on that too because there's obviously rolling street closures, a lot of closures downtown for the bike races on Saturday night and Saturday afternoon. Use the app. Download the Apple Blossom app. It's a great tool. So that is your forecast, and you probably noticed once we get to the early part of next week, Steve, and May really gets going, sunny and warm again. Yeah, I'm liking that. I hope we get 80 today. They got the golf tournament today up at the Hollander, and it's perfect weather for that. Absolutely perfect weather for that. It is 10 minutes after the hour. We're broadcasting live here from Studio 4 in downtown Wenatchee. Going to take a 1-minute break, and then the gentleman to my immediate left, Steve Hare, will let you know what you need to know on this third day of May. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
This is the NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by Localtel. Rugrat Nation 3-on-3 basketball tournament is May 5th from 2 to 6 at Pybus. The public is invited to watch this tournament specifically for kids grades K to 3. Pybus Art Lovers Sunday is May 6th from 10 to 4. Meet and visit local artists and watch them practice their craft. For more information and other community events, visit ncwlife.com.
Honda makes jets, robots, lawnmowers, motorcycles, boat motors. They're so well known and have a history of making quality machines and engines that's why we're willing to put on our automobiles a lifetime warranty. You know, some manufacturers, if they put this warranty on their vehicles, they'd lose money. Not with Honda. If you're betting against a Honda, you're a bad gambler. They're really well known for winning. My name is David Gonzalez and I'm a product specialist at Apple Valley Honda.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
It's a May 3rd, Thursday. Good morning and welcome to our local news. Here's what's happening around north central Washington today. First of all, NCW Life has been closely following our region's Bitcoin mining gold rush, as it were, and how it's affecting public power. But now it appears things are getting nasty. Chelan County PUD commissioners were briefed this week on new security measures being implemented to address what they describe as belligerent behavior. It's reported that PUD employees in the field and those in the office who are handling issues related to high-density load service have encountered an increasing number of upset customers and potential customers. Issues include disconnecting power for unauthorized cryptocurrency operations or telling people that new HDL service won't be extended during the application moratorium. In some cases, people can get agitated and argumentative. The district's security chief, Rich Hyatt, explained how it's being addressed.
We've just done a lot of physical security measures recently in our lobby at HQ. We've put in some ballistic panels. We've increased the camera coverage at the service building. We've also designed and going into construction phase for a very small storefront lobby, which at the service building that would give the employees a lot more security without having personnel or customers be able to walk right into their work area. And we're monitoring those areas pretty much. We've trained our security officers to look for negative body language, people who are being agitated. We're doing a lot of walkthroughs when we do see that. We've instructed frontline staff on the use of panic buttons.
Aside from the security concerns, Bitcoin mining issues have also overwhelmed staff in several areas. At their Monday meeting, the commissioners got an overview of the first quarter district performance plan, which showed the impacts that Bitcoin mining response has had on the PUD's original workload plans. Commissioner Ann Congdon responded.
I think I asked 2 weeks ago or maybe a month ago, maybe it was Lindsay Mons, I forget who, I asked if this large load, the large load resource requirements were affecting how much it was affecting everybody's workload. And wow, this demonstrates just exactly how much it's affecting everybody. I mean, it showed up maybe 20 times in here that it's been delayed because of large load work requirements.
Now, all of this is leading up to the PUD Commissioners' next meeting on the 14th, which will include a public hearing on the Bitcoin mining application moratorium. And elsewhere around north central Washington this morning, no word yet on the cause of a two-car crash yesterday afternoon in East Wenatchee. The crash happened around 1 in the afternoon on Grant Road. It was located right in front of the Walker's Furniture Store entrance. That accident, as you see here, left one of the cars on its top, while the other vehicle came to rest on the opposite side of Grant Road. It also appears there may have been some injuries involved, although we don't have the full details yet. As you can see here, one of the people involved in that crash being attended to there in the street by a Douglas County District 2 firefighter. Again, traffic closed at Grant Road and Valley Mall Parkway for a short time, but emergency crews responded quickly to that wreck, resulted in only minor traffic delays. Elsewhere, for the first time in months, the Wenatchee area unemployment rate has leveled off. NCW Life's Grant Olson has more on that.
The Wenatchee Metropolitan Statistical Area showed a 6.3% unemployment rate for this past March, the same exact rate as in March of 2017. The Wenatchee MSA consists of Chelan and Douglas counties, and for the first time since 2007, a March unemployment rate for the two-county area was lower than 6.3%. 11 years ago, the rate was registered at 6.2%. Job growth in construction, health services, and leisure and hospitality has been particularly robust recently. In the construction sector alone, job growth from March of 2017 to March of this year was at 26%. That compared to statewide figures of 5%. Leisure and hospitality is also outpacing statewide numbers. Over the past year, the Wenatchee MSA has seen job growth at 8.2% compared to 2.3% statewide. Grant Olson, NCW Life News.
Well, from the NCW Live Pardon Our Smoke file this morning, forest fires of the prescribed nature are being conducted this week on the Okanagan and Wenatchee National Forest. As you can see here, map provided to us by the U.S. Forest Service shows in red those areas that were actively burning yesterday. In fact, you may have seen some drifting smoke from two of the burns in the Eniat Ranger District on Wednesday. Additional work was being conducted on the Cleelum and Methow Ranger Districts as well. Meanwhile, today, crews are planning more prescribed burning in the Lake Chelan district. Officials say the controlled burns will only occur, though, if the weather and fuel conditions and smoke conditions permit. But you may see some drift smoke again today from those fires. Meanwhile, over 400 people yesterday filled the Grand Ballroom at the Wenatchee Convention Center, and that was for the All-Service Club Luncheon. Eric Grandstrom was there and filed a report.
And reigning over our 99th Apple Blossom Festival, let's give it up for Greta Wiersma.
We're incredibly grateful to live here, and I believe we live in one of the best places in the entire world. So thank you, every single one of you, for the ways that you've loved on us and the ways that you've touched our lives.
It was a gathering to recognize honorees, such as the Apple Citizen of the Year, Todd Fryover.
And then, of course, thankfulness. Thankfulness mostly for my wife, for my family, for my dad, for the Apple Blossom Festival, Darcy and her group, and whoever this selection committee was, because I guarantee you there's a lot of people that deserve an award like this. So again, thank you very much.
Clyde and Ruth Ballard were also honored as Grand Marshals for this year's Stimmelt Growers Grand Parade.
You guys really snuck up on us because we were the last people we ever would have thought of to have this honor, and it is a great honor. We look back on our life, and God has allowed us to do things that were just totally impossible for us, and it was made possible by the support and love of endless numbers of people. And so to all of you, have a great Apple Blossom, wave, yell loud, and once again, thank you so very much for this honor. Thank you.
Of course, getting a chance to hear from keynote speaker, former Como News anchor Dan Lewis, was a big draw to the Apple Blossom tradition.
And it did get to be rather known once social media came out. One of the little things that I would post on social media occasionally was that every day at work, I would have at 3 o'clock, precisely 3 o'clock, I'm not a creature of habit, really, I would have an apple. It was usually a Granny Smith, very often Red Delicious or Fuji or Honeycrisp, an occasional Opal if I could find one. And it's a habit that I have continued since I retired. Not so much anymore at 3 o'clock every day, but an apple a day. So of the 10 to 12 billion apples harvested in Washington State, I am doing my small part. Driving into Wenatchee, it struck me that I know I've been here many times in the past, but it's been quite some time. This is the great time to come in because as I was driving by all the apple orchards and the flowering trees, I wanted to stop and take photographs. It's a beautiful area, and again, so welcoming. The people here are just spectacular. I also noticed, very easy to notice, traffic is a lot better here than it is back in Seattle.
Lewis will play in the Apple Blossom Golf Tournament Thursday and says not to be too surprised if we see him on Como TV again in the not-too-distant future. I'm Eric Grandstrom for NCW Life Channel News.
And there's always a very popular event, the Exchange Club, or rather the All Service Club luncheon, and saw Tom Irvin sitting there to the right, Eggman, and they're getting ready for the big breakfast on Saturday too.
Yeah, it's the Kiwanis Club that puts on the breakfast 56th year in a row, I want to say. I just pulled that out of my head. I could be wrong by a couple of years. And it's the only parade of all the festivals and all the parades that they feed everybody. And they give all the bands that come in, and they don't believe this because the bands and the floats and the dignitaries from out of town who come in and gather at Triangle Park for the staging area, and they're all set up there, and they're making the eggs, and they're making the pancakes, and they got the ham, and it's a big feast, and it's all you can eat. And they're amazed that they actually do this. They go, this is the only festival I go where we get out of the bus and here's breakfast. You know, it's a nice touch.
Really nice, really nice.
So,
it's a good feed too.
Yeah, I think that starts at 6:30 on Saturday
Great way to go
morning.
up there, and if you can't make it to the parade, I mean, it's a great way to see all the floats.
Yeah, you can mingle around with the floats, talk to the judges, talk to the visiting royalty and dignitaries and stuff like that.
We're not in it this year, are we?
I'm sorry?
I say we're not in the parade this year, are we?
No, we're televising the parade, but we're not in the parade.
Yeah.
I've been in the parade a couple of times.
Yeah, so have I.
It's strange.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
If you're lucky and you're in the parade, it's a bright sunny day, not necessarily because the weather is great, which brings the crowds out, but if you're in the parade, you can put on sunglasses and you don't have to worry about missing somebody. Because I was in the parade with my friend David Charles Harold, you know David very well, and we were right in the back of the convertible and we had our sunglasses on, so you could just, without actually having to make eye contact with anybody.
Last time I did it, I was in the pickup truck with my dog, and I don't know who enjoyed it more.
Yeah, don't forget the Small Growers Grand Parade if you can't make it out. And the weather's going to be really nice, but if you can't make it to the parade route, you'll be able to watch it live here on high definition television with Eric Grandstrom and Julie Kuntz calling the parade at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. The news with Grant Olson will come your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock today. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Those are your three chances to check out the news on TV, or as we like to say in the business, television. However, if you don't have it and it doesn't fit within your schedule, you can watch it on demand by going to our website, ncwlife.com, ncwlife.com, and that's also a great way for you to get a hold of us, but there are other ways, and the gentleman to my left will tell you exactly how that's done.
Yes.
That's you, Steve.
There are any number of ways you can contact us here. If you have an idea for a news story, if there's a program, event that you want us to cover, give us a call at 888-NCWL, that's 888-6295. Also, you can contact us by social media, Facebook, Twitter, on our website at ncwlife.com, or just write us a little note on our email. The address is news@ncwlife.com.
And we have gotten news tips that we have followed up on. It turns out it was a good news story, and we were happy to hear from our viewers. We really were.
We have a little story we're working on for later. As a matter of fact, the question that the city of Wenatchee is posing to people: how walker-friendly is the city of Wenatchee? It's a walkability survey that they're doing.
I walk a lot, and I'd have to say pretty good.
Well, we asked the question on our Facebook page, folks, so go to our Facebook page and participate, and maybe log onto the city's website and participate in the survey.
It's a pretty compact city. I mean, you can walk from the Pybus to downtown to Memorial Park to wherever, it's for at least in the downtown core area where our business and offices are and where I live. I would have to say it's very pedestrian friendly.
It's becoming more so with new sidewalks going in all the time.
Yeah, so there you go. 24 minutes after the hour, sports. Highlights from last night's Wenatchee Wild loss to Spruce Grove and everything else that you need to know from the world of sports is coming up next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 55 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
Your home for the 2018 Washington State Apple Blossom Festival is the NCW Life Channel. Be sure to watch the Kais Fiber Youth Parade Saturday, April 28th, the Les Schwab Classy Chassis Parade on Friday, May 4th, and the Stem Milk Growers Grand Parade Saturday, May 5th, right here. Brought to you by Merry Maids. Relax, it's done. And by Schmidt Electric, serving the West since 1960. Your home for the 2018 Apple Blossom Festival is the NCW Life Channel.
The Arbiter of Stoke is a series that highlights a variety of outdoor adventure sports that are available in the Pacific Northwest. I dedicate my time to enjoying this natural playground. The decision is yours. How will you keep your stoke?
And we're back at 25 minutes after the hour, just about 26 minutes after the hour. Mostly sunny and 53 degrees, mostly sunny today. High of about 80. Clouds mixed with sun, but more sun than clouds for the upcoming weekend, and highs in the upper 70s. Sports. I've never been to Spruce Grove, Alberta. I'm assuming it's a lovely town. The Wenatchee Wild get to spend a little more time in Spruce Grove, Alberta, because they fell in Game 4 of the Doyle Cup last night. Facing elimination and a possible sweep, the hometown team, the Saints, came out on fire last night at the Grand Fur Arena and beat Wenatchee. The final was 5-2. Saints play-by-play announcer Brandon, I want to get this right, Ewan Shushin. I hope I got your name right, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. Here's the call on Hockey TV.
And a good blocker save from Parkus Kozowski. Right in front for Harris. Scores! Josh Harris! Upstairs on Austin Park, and the Spruce Grove Saints, for the first time in this series, get the opening goal. As Brick's still hard in it, killing all the time he can off this power play. Comes from Lloyd. Lloyd shoots. He scores! TJ Lloyd shorthanded, and the Spruce Grove Saints take a 2-0 lead. Far side, race for it between Borley and Sasaki, and Borley takes down Sasaki right in front of the Wild bench. Parmenter now. Parmenter fires one, and he scores! Austin Parmenter with an off-speed pitch, and the Saints lead 3-0. Plays that up for Forrest. Forrest up for Hickey. He tries to hit it back down low. Here's Stratton in on goal. Stratton comes in, and he scores. Murphy Stratton with a short-handed goal. The Wenatchee Wild get one. Over for Gainey. Leaves that down low for Parmenter. Parmenter back up for Gainey. Gainey walks out, shoots, and he scores! Logan Gainey upstairs on the power play, and the Spruce Grove Saints take a 4-1 lead. Biro can't handle it as it's sent back down by Hessler. Stratton picks it up. Stratton, saucer pass towards the net, and they score. What a beautiful goal from the Wenatchee Wild, as Stratton lays a beautiful saucer pass right on the tape of Dorsley, and he goes forehand, backhand, makes no mistake. And we got ourselves a 2-goal game now with 16:06 left to go in this third period. Demon, far side for Vanderbeck. He shoots, blocked, and Vanderbeck misses the rebound as well. Harris behind his own goal, 1:12 left to go in this third period. Harris, he's got the empty net, plays it ahead for Parmenter. He's got room. Parmenter shoots, scores! Austin Parmenter seals the deal, and that will do it. The Spruce Grove Saints fend off elimination, and they will play one more time at least here at the Grand Fur Arena Friday night. The final score here, 5-2 for the Spruce Grove Saints.
Thank you very much, Brandon. You're an enthusiastic guy. I'll give you that much. Game 5, Friday night. Again, they don't play tonight. Friday night, 6 o'clock. The Wild will try again for victory and wrap up the Doyle Cup Championship. By the way, Game 1 of the Doyle Cup Championship is available for you tonight. It's Thursday. That means, of course, it's hockey night here on the NCW Life channel. The Wenatchee Spruce Grove Game 1 from last Friday can be aired and seen right here on this very television station at 7 o'clock tonight. And then we look ahead to tomorrow. Of course, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the Les Schwab Classy Chassis Parade gets underway at 6:30. Our broadcast there in front of the Local Tel building on Grant Road in East Wenatchee. And then Saturday, the Stem Milk Growers Grand Parade, again live at 11. Here's the prep schedule for today. Pretty light. Eastmont and West Valley there at Sunnyside for a track meet at 4. Wenatchee will host Eisenhower Davis and Moses Lake for a track meet at 4 o'clock today. In tennis, Wenatchee will host Davis at 3. Eastmont's at West Valley at 3. And Cashman will take on Ellensburg at 4. The Wenatchee Valley Thunder lacrosse team. It's a big game of the year. In fact, it's their biggest game of the year tonight down in Richland. Richland is right behind Wenatchee in the standings. If Wenatchee wins or loses by 3 points or less, the Thunder will win the regular season league title, and they'll have the #1 seed heading into the playoffs. That means home field advantage. That begins on May 12th. on the Les Schwab scoreboard. The Mariners got one of the best outings, if not the best outing in the career of James Paxton. He struck out 16 batters through 7 innings, gave the ball over to the bullpen. Ugh. The bullpen blew it. Juan Nicasio gave up a 2-run home run to Jed Lowry in the 8th, and then Edwin Diaz, who ironically enough was named April's reliever of the month, gave up a solo blast to Mark Canha, and that was it. And the Mariners lose 3-2. The two teams will play the rubber match tonight. And Wayne LeBlanc will get his very first start of the season for the Mariners. That was a tough one for James Paxton. He pitched so well. 16 strikeouts. Most for a Mariner since Randy Johnson 21 years ago. Wow. 30 minutes after the hour, the obscure holiday of the day today. We take this for granted in the United States. We have freedom of press. We have freedom of expression. Most countries do not. This is World Press Freedom Day. A day to appreciate the journalists and the people who go out really hard to get the news and gather the news and get the news to you, because I'd mentioned before, we have freedom of the press. It's guaranteed in the First Amendment. We have freedom of expression, but the vast majority of countries in this world, including countries that practice democracy, do not have freedom of the press. The government gets to vet all the stories before they actually hit the airwaves or the newspapers. So remember this. Today is World Press Freedom Day, and a reminder that journalists are killed every year worldwide trying to do their jobs, and they're being killed by people who don't want you to know the truth. World Press Freedom Day, 31 minutes after the hour. Today in history, it's May 3rd. Believe it or not, Gone with the Wind is the only book that Margaret Mitchell ever published during her lifetime, and it hit bookshelves on this date 81 years ago today. The novel, Gone with the Wind, which is still a really good novel. It's the book is better than the movie, quite frankly. It won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction on this date 81 years ago today, and it was the only book Margaret Mitchell ever wrote that was published in her lifetime. After she passed away, they published another book that she had written but never completed, Gone with the Wind. 66 years ago today, May 3rd, 1952, that's not a contemporary picture. It's the only picture I could find of an airplane at the North Pole, so I threw that up there. But Lieutenant Colonels Joseph O. Fletcher and William P. Benedict of the United States landed a plane at the North Pole. They became the very first Americans to land and set foot on the exact geographic North Pole. It hadn't happened before. The best way to do it and know you're there, I suppose, is to fly there. It happened on this date 66 years ago today. Also 66 years ago today, the same date in 1952, the Kentucky Derby was televised on television for the first time by the CBS network. And now, of course, the first Saturday in May is an American tradition, the Kentucky Derby. You could watch it on TV for the first time in the state in 1952. And they've never forgiven Walter O'Malley in the hamlet of Brooklyn, New York, for what he did 61 years ago today. May 3rd, 1957, Walter O'Malley, the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers, agreed to move the team from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. And the next year, they did. 33 minutes after the hour. 1, 2, 3, 4 birthdays. All of them are no longer with us, but they all need to be mentioned, including a Northwest legend, Harry Crosby, better known as Bing. Bing Crosby was born May 3rd, 1903, passed away the way I want to pass away. He played 18 holes of golf, said good round guys, and dropped dead of a heart attack at the age of 74 back in 1977. Of course, born and raised in Tacoma, went to Gonzaga University, but eventually become the biggest selling recording artist of the first half of the 20th century. Over 1 billion tapes, records, compact discs, and digital downloads. The great Bing Crosby, who was the first multimedia star in this country. Record sales, radio ratings, television ratings, motion pictures. He won an Academy Award. Bing Crosby, born in the state of 1903. Red Ruffing. You might not know Red Ruffing, but I do. He invented the slider. Red Ruffing is a Hall of Fame pitcher for the New York Yankees, a member of 6 World Championship teams, 6 Major League Baseball All-Star games, Baseball Hall of Fame. Red Ruffing, the inventor of the slider, the only pitch I could throw, was born in the state of 1905. Pete Seeger, the great American singer-songwriter, guitarist, and activist, lived a long time, 94 years long. He was born in the state of 1919, passed away in 2014, most associated with the Weavers and his other stuff. Pete Seeger, birthday today. And James Brown, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame of the inaugural class of 1985. James Brown, the singer and songwriter, actor, producer. The great James Brown was born in the state of 1933. Ooh, yeah, I feel good. That's your birthdays. On this May 3rd, it is 34 minutes after the hour. It's time for Pet of the Week with Megan McPherson. Let's see if we can find Abby a home.
Hey guys, Megan McPherson here with the NCW Life Channel. We're here with Renee Parkins, the Development Officer of the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and we're also here with Abby.
Yes. So Abby is just the sweetest girl. She's really a low-key dog. She'd rather lay in the sun than do too much hiking. She's active, but she loves treats. No, Abby. She is a golden retriever Rottweiler mix. She's about 10 years old, so she has lots of spunk and life in her still. She's got a great personality, really just low-key and relaxed. She is crate trained, so during the day she doesn't mind being in it. She doesn't mind other dogs, but she does like to kind of just, if they leave her alone. She doesn't mind them, but she doesn't want to play with them. She knows how to sit. She will do anything for a treat, and she is just the sweetest dog. She's one of our Texas dogs, so.
Great. And what does somebody do if they want to adopt Abby?
If they want to adopt Abby, just come down and meet her. I always encourage that. And if you have another animal, another dog that you're trying to see if she'll be a good fit with, bring them down. We have these wonderful players like the one we're sitting in right now. And so they can kind of get acquainted with each other to see if they're going to be a good fit. And you can fill out our paperwork and take her home.
Great.
Yeah.
The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org.
Abby. Abby.
More treats.
This is Megan McPherson, and that's our Pet of the Week from the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society.
Plumbing, heating, or cooling repair, Patriot will be right there.
Don't wait till your equipment breaks. This Lennox dealer can help.
Keep your home comfort system running smoothly with regular checkups from Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Call Patriot today.
Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling will give your home a hug.
Get up to $1,700 in rebates or special financing.
I have a doctor who knows what they're talking about.
It's just so much more hands-on and friendly than anywhere else I've ever been.
It's really great to walk into somewhere where you feel welcomed and you feel accepted.
We've just been grateful for the care and respect that we've been given there.
And here when I come to visit my doctor, I'm not afraid to ask questions.
It's not just about getting you in and out.
I love my care at CVCH. It's awesome. Give it a try.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, in grade school, I was taught that George Washington never told a lie. Really? Never? Not once? I was also taught that Christopher Columbus discovered America. No, he didn't. Eric the Red probably got here 500 years earlier, and it wasn't even North America where Columbus ended up. And here's a good one. Native Americans and Pilgrims ate turkey on the first Thanksgiving. No, I don't think so. No, who makes this stuff up? And why did they cram it down my throat when I was too young to challenge them? And you want to know about another huge lie I was told? I've searched numerous people-seeking sites, many search engines, and I've looked all over the internet, and I can't find even one person named John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, let alone two. I say it's time to promote honesty and education. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
What's your Automocha emergency?
It's a Paprika Mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the Mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
my favorite people when it comes to soccer knowledge and soccer calling are Sebastian Moraga and his partner when we do Wenatchee High School and Eastmont High School games. Sebastian couldn't make it, but I got Matt Wisen on. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Hi, Matthew.
Hello, good morning.
It's good to see you. Matt's our local celebrity. He's our local soccer expert. I got to know Matt via a mutual friend of ours, John Connor, from a couple of years ago when John came in from KW3 and he did a soccer game for me. And I said, you have a color guy? And he's got this Matt Wisen guy who seems to know what he's talking about. And you've been part of our television family ever since.
Yeah, that was fun back then. Still is fun.
Yeah.
But I remember John giving me a ring, and we used to always go on these long, endless debates about the Sounders or EPL or whatever. And it's fun to watch local.
And we got good soccer players here.
Great
We'll talk
soccer,
about that.
yeah.
We got a lot of different things to talk about with Matt. You have, real quickly, you got a new office. You're part of Matt works for the DOT, Department of Transportation. You're an ecologist? Help me out.
Biologist.
Biologist, thank you. And you used to work on that old dilapidated building that's now vacant on North Wenatchee Avenue. And then you moved out to Old Station.
Yeah.
And you moved back to your old building. But now you got a brand new office.
Yeah, I've been all back and forth a lot. That old building was great. It had a lot of character, but it had a lot of oldness to it and a lot of funky things that weren't working quite right. The new building's great. It's big, airy, great lighting, and things work. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's nice when things work, doesn't it? And you got a nice office, nice view, I suppose. There's a lot of.
Yeah, we can see the mountains. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I did actually have a window at my old office, which was nice. But the views changed a little bit and a little more airy. We can see more part of the valley, which is great.
Yeah. Enough of this nonsense. Let's get on to some serious stuff. And we have to address the elephant in the room. Matt was on the facilities committee that was put together to decide what to do about an aging and rapidly aging Wenatchee High School. You were part of that committee, and you were part of the group that said this is what we want to do: the $120 million bond, renovate and fix up Wenatchee High School. And a week ago today, the voters said yes, but they said no. You didn't hit the threshold. You didn't get the 60% yes, and you didn't get the 40% turnout. Your reaction to that?
Obviously disappointed. We spent a lot of time working on that. And it's hard not to see people go out and vote. I guess when I was younger, I kind of took voting for granted, but not anymore. You really need to get out, especially if you have lots of complaints. It seems like a lot of people complain about a ton of things, but they never go out and vote. So the bond, we thought we put together a really good package. It's expensive. And without really talking to a lot of people face to face, they did a lot of face to face, but apparently not enough. And I don't know why it failed, but 43% of the people that voted decided to say no. And so we've got to go back to the drawing board a little bit and find out what happened and what we can do to address the situation. It's got to happen. That building is going to go south in a hurry.
Do you have any idea, has the facilities committee met since then, or have you talked to any of the leaders of this bond to have any idea what the next plan is? Because the problems, as Matt just said, is not going to go away.
I have not met with the committee yet. I think a few of the people have. I think they're probably trying to gather some of the input, why people said no, and bounce things around, see what happens. I personally would like to see them go back out with the same bond. I thought we put together a great package. It's explaining why and what it is. The $120 million is a lot of money, and a lot of people think, man, you can build a Taj Mahal for $120 million. But we're talking commercial grade everything for a school. You got 2,000 plus or minus kids going through this school daily. And you think what that would do to your house.
Yeah.
It would fall apart in a couple of weeks. So you really have to construct something to last. And the current building is really old, and it's lasted quite well, but everything from the pipes to the wiring to the plumbing, everything's toast.
They can do what Moses Lake did. Moses Lake, for years and years and years, tried to stress on the people in the district, we need a new high school. And the Moses Lake High School was not only older than Wenatchee High School, it was considerably smaller, and they had the same enrollment as Wenatchee did. And and the people in the Moses Lake School District kept saying no, 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 no. And finally, a couple of years ago, they finally punched the ticket because they didn't really have any choice.
Yeah, and the problem is things keep getting more and more expensive. They don't get any cheaper.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back out and say, well, it's been 3 years and we're still trying to get the thing built, and now it's $150 million instead. So
the turnout was anemic. That was what
It
really
was-
caught my
it was
eye.
really sad.
I mean, it's not that hard to vote.
And well, especially when it shows up in your mailbox, and all you have to do is put a stamp on it and return it.
Turnout was abysmal.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. Off my smoke. So let's get to something much better, much more important. For the last number of years, the Fallen Heroes entry in the Stimone Groves Washington State Apple Blossom Grand Parade is the moment. It's the lump in your throat, crying. Everybody stands up. It's a terribly emotional and really cool tribute. Fallen Heroes. Talk about it real quick, and we're going to show footage of what we're talking about from last year's Apple Blossom Festival Parade. Talk about Fallen Heroes and how you got involved.
Actually, I got a call from a gentleman named Brad Pertz, and he's with the Veterans Affairs Office locally, and he was looking for an athletic group, a soccer club, whatever, to help carry this thing, and I was more than happy to bring my team in at the time. We started out with just my team, and then I wanted to expand it to the club and we saw how many of those banners were not being carried, and it just broke my heart. And so the club started doing it. Then the following year I tried to get more and more clubs involved. You can see some of our green shirts there. And so I tried to bring baseball and football and all those groups. It's a really busy time of year, though, and it's really lots of tournaments going on, a lot of kids out of town, a lot of kids in town, but they're playing other events. The common theme is that there's still lots of banners not being carried, and it's a tragedy they're not being carried. These guys gave everything, and you can see there's a ton of them out there, and it's very, very sober moment. It's something you'll remember for the rest of your life. I came into it not knowing what to expect, and it blew me away. And the respect that the crowd gives these families. Some of the families of the soldiers on these banners are out there as well in the parade up front.
There are parents and brothers and sisters and siblings of the fallen who are carrying the banner of that family member.
Yeah, correct. And actually parents and family members or whatever will come out of the crowd sometimes and walk with us and tell us the story of it's just
Really?
2 years ago my younger son was in front of me carrying a banner, and I get choked up talking about it. Just a man came out of the crowd and he said, "Do you mind if I help you?" And then he proceeded to tell the story about his grandson and how he got the news. So it was just overwhelming.
There is an organization that has a fairly formal structure. It's based out of Spokane. It's been going on for, I want to say, 10, 12 years now. And they have these banners, and they have them in storage, and they dig them out for these kind of events. And they essentially ship one banner per carrier, right? You get a hold of them, and you say, we got X amount of people to carry the banners this year, and they send you that amount of banners. But there are a lot of banners.
There are a lot of banners,
and the more people who volunteer to carry a banner, the more banners in the parade. It's as simple as that, right?
Correct.
So we threw it up on the screen, and Kat's going to do that one more time. People say, "I'm in, Matt. I want to be a part of this entry. I want to be a part of the Fallen Heroes." They can email you at the address that you see on your screen.
Go ahead, please email me. And even if you don't email me, if you say, "Hey, I'm all in. I'd love to come help," we'd love to have you. So show up Triangle Park. We're typically located closer to the Apple Bowl.
Mm-hmm. And you're usually towards the front of the parade too, right?
Usually towards the front, usually the first 15 or so entries.
Right.
So you'll see where we're staging there. I would recommend kids older than 8 or so. You can double up on the banners. For every 6 kids, so if you're a coach out there and you have a team, you want to come join us, that's great. Bring your team. But for every 6 kids under 14, you need 1 adult.
Okay.
And there is a waiver to sign once you get there. And that's it. Come, we'll bring walking shoes. If you're on a sports team, wear your uniforms. Be proud of your team and what you're doing for the community.
There isn't a hard and fast deadline. I mean, there's going to be enough banners to go around, or is there at a certain point you have to call Spokane and say, please send me this many banners, or how does that work?
We've been trying to get Brad some numbers in advance. Mm-hmm. I just texted him and said, hey, I'm going on NCW Life, and we're going to put out a plea to the community to get more people. It's been a couple hundred banners that have not been carried in the past, and I'm sure he's going to bring some extras have some buffer there in case we do get a great turnout.
I hope that you have a great turnout. I hope he brings every banner he's got, and he's got somebody to carry it.
Exactly.
For them. So I think the saddest thing, if anything, would be a truck full of banners that just are going to sit there during the Smoke Growers Grand Prix because they didn't have somebody to carry them.
Yeah.
So
true.
Let's make it happen, people. Let's talk soccer. That's your thing. Let's talk soccer. Let's talk Columbia Basin Big Nine soccer.
Yeah.
Real quickly. As you know, Matt and Sebastian Malaga called the soccer games here, the beautiful game on the NCAA Live channel. We cover Wenatchee and Eastmont home games. It's been a pretty good year for the Wenatchee Panthers. It's been an even better year for the Eastmont Wildcats. Very, very good team. Both of these soccer teams are good. This league is good. It's a good league.
It's a very good league. It's always been difficult to get through, and it's just getting better. It's crazy the changes that have happened to soccer, how much better the sport has become in the last 20 years.
Both times that Wenatchee and Eastmont played each other, we were there televising both games live right here on the NCAA Live channel. The quality of play. They were both very entertaining matches. For one thing, the one at the Apple Bowl went to the shootout.
Yep.
You know, it was just, but it was what I was impressed with was the quality of the play. You have a hard time remembering that these guys are 16, 17, and just 18 years old, but boy, can they play soccer, both of these teams.
Yeah, these guys have been playing about as long as they've been walking. And Wenatchee has some tremendous players, and only 2 schools to choose from when you're that age. So they're both really dang good. They can be really fun to watch, very fast, very, very physical. And Eastmont has surprised lots of people. But they've got some players. They've got a couple of the best players in the state, the Espinoza brothers. And the combination that those two are finding on the field and scoring lots of goals is just pretty fun to watch.
As we mentioned here in the sporting broadcast, this is the last week of the regular season for all the spring sports, including boys soccer. Now, Wenatchee's season is done because of the way the schedule is set. Every soccer team in the Big Nine has a bye week. Wenatchee's happens to be the final week of the season. But Eastmont still has work to do. Handicap the playoffs. Can both of these teams, Wenatchee and Eastmont, make a deep run to the playoffs? They're good.
I think so. It's so hard to predict this league. And games, I think I've probably been wrong more often than right this year. Wenatchee's got a couple issues to straighten out. They've got some shape and some defensive question marks that they need to correct. Eastmont is looking a little better tuned and I think a little healthier at this point. It's such a physical season and game that injuries unfortunately take a toll. Wenatchee's been very deep this year on their bench and their size, so it shouldn't hurt them too bad. The guys are stepping up and are doing a fantastic job. Eastmont, let's see, they're 1-1 versus Davis, 2-0 versus Sunnyside, 1-1 versus West Valley, and 2-0 versus Wenatchee. Wenatchee.
All of those teams are good.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah, they're all good. It's so any game, one of those teams can come out and take the other. West Valley just beat Eastmont and at West Valley. Fortunately, Eastmont will at least get a home game or two, and that's good. That's good for them.
Eastmont, I believe, has clinched the league. Have they not? They can't finish lower than first.
No, they've clinched the league.
They've already punched their ticket to a first-round bye in the districts. Wenatchee still has some work to do.
Well, there's tonight's last game, regular season game for a lot of teams. Sunnyside, Davis, West Valley, I believe. Eastmont plays home against Eisenhower tonight.
That's right.
And go Eastmont. I think they should handle Eisenhower. It's just the two teams in the league. The only 2 teams in the league are kind of not or almost gimme kind of games, and the rest of them anyone can sneak through.
It's gonna be exciting postseason. Matt and I talked about this off camera. This Wenatchee team reminds me a little bit of the Wenatchee team from 2 years ago. They won some games and lost some games. They were at one point, the Wenatchee Panthers of 2 years ago, a game under 500. And then something happened, and they went on a tear. They won 9 games in a row. They finished 3rd in the Big Nine. They finished 3rd in their own league, and then they won 9 games in a row and won the state championship. I see the parallels from this year's team to the team from 2 years ago.
Yeah, I do too. Wenatchee's had some diversity, just like they did a couple years back. they've really shown some good soccer. It's putting it together consistently now and going on that run. I think they kind of like being the underdog, playing that role.
I do too.
And I think that's what might have helped them a couple years back. And they're definitely going to be kind of an underdog against some of these other teams and maybe an unknown. The GSL out of Spokane is looking pretty strong. And so is the Mid-Columbia with Pasco and those guys. But Wenatchee already got past Pasco.
And they beat Central Valley, too, which is a great team. So we'll see. It'll be exciting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to postseason soccer. I really am. And, of course, Dennis Tronson, the head coach of the Wenatchee high school boys team, is familiar with going deep in the state run with his job as the girls coach at Kashmir. So he's been to state championships before. He knows what he's doing.
Several of the players on the current roster were there too, and are playing great. Orlando Howe, Eric Zaldivar, Joe Celebrezzi, and Jake Slife. They've all.
And Luis Navarrete.
And Luis, and Luis is kind of dinged up a little bit right now, but he's really hungry to get back in the scoring mode.
Well, let's close out our conversation, Matthew. We got about 4 minutes left. Let's throw up those photos that you brought and talk about FC.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get some notes here.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have notes.
Yeah.
There you go. What are we looking at and what are we talking about?
That would be our boys 05 team. Noe Sidio is the coach. They just won the state cup tournament. So at their age, they're the state champions. They are one of 2 teams from Wenatchee FC going to nationals.
Wow.
The other one is the McCordy B03 team, and they're down in San Diego here in July, last week in June and first week in July. So they just had a great weekend in Starfire, Redmond, Seattle area, and beat, I believe, Washington East out of Spokane for the state championship.
Wow, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. Speaking of champions.
Yep, that's our B04 Zumac team, and they were finalists at State Cup, so second place in the State Cup, and they've really come on strong. Had a great year last year. One of our up-and-coming teams, and really looking forward to seeing how far they can make it.
Now, your kids can get involved, and by yours, I don't mean Matthew's. I've met Matt's kids. They're good kids, by the way. FC Select and Premier Soccer Tryouts. Walk parents through this.
Okay, yeah, so you can show up, as you see here, Foothills Middle School is where we have the tryouts. They're free. You don't have to pre-register if you don't want to. A lot of information online at wfcyouth.net, and find your birth year age. And
so it's the year you were born.
The year you were born.
So I was born in 1964, so I am ineligible.
So you're on the 64 team.
I'm on the 64 team, okay.
Their tryouts are at the senior center.
The senior center, yeah.
Yep. And show up. If you have any questions, the coaches are there. They'll ask, you can ask them whatever you want to know. And even coaches will give like demo days where you can show up to their training and just kind of, if the kids are hesitant, nervous about things, they can see what it's all about.
What can the parents expect? Because they're the ones who are going to drive the kids there and drop them off. What do you tell the parents about your organization and the tryouts? What can they expect?
First of all, the Wenatchee FC puts a lot of effort into coaching coaches. We have great policies in place. We have a fantastic, hardworking board. And I personally believe we're one of the best clubs in the state for soccer. We compete very well statewide, actually nationwide, and the kids have a blast. And everything's still in perspective too. It's not all soccer all the time. I see these coaches out there really making some great relationships with the players, with the families, giving them a lot of good leadership skills, and everything else that's offered with sports.
It's fun to see the Wenatchee Valley become a soccer community, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that, I mean, there was no high school soccer when I was in high school. In fact, there wasn't even any club soccer. And now we got kids playing soccer all over the place.
All over the place.
Thousands of them all over the valley playing soccer. It's going to make you feel good.
Yeah, it does.
So. Well, Matthew, it's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, you bet. Really quick.
Yeah, go ahead. You got about 10 seconds.
Our DOC, Neil Oyson, wish him the best. He just got a job down in San Diego.
Oh, he's moving?
He's moving.
Oh, man.
And actually today he's packed up the trailer and on his way down.
I'm going to miss his accent. I really work.
Bringing in a new guy, Jostin, from Washington Rust. He's fantastic. And can't wait to see what he does.
Matthew, be good, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you Saturday at the parade, all right?
Yeah, absolutely.